Make48 is funded by
Stanley Black & Decker provides tools and services around the globe to help turn great ideas into reality and to help us shape the world we live in. We proudly support programming that inspires invention, innovation, and hard work. Together with Make48, we're providing men and women the tools and resources to build a better world. Stanley Black & Decker, for those who make the world.
Previously on Make48, Tom enlisted some tool techs to begin developing the strap-in store.
How's everybody?
Good.
Good.
Hey.
And they got to work making improvements and refining a new prototype.
So here it is. The concept, we've got our double strap, so I like the original design. And then, so here's the nice thing about this is that you can slide it up just by pushing on it.
Make48, everyone's got a big idea.
So we're here today at Venture Industrial Products, and we're here to pick up our prototype hook that they have developed for us. I designed the model and sent it over to them, and they have it ready to go, and they've already made it.
My name is Stuart Black. I own Venture Industrial Products, and we're a precision sheet metal design and fabrication company. We work with customers, mostly original equipment manufacturers or OEMs, and they have a product of their own, and we help to support that product by using sheet metal, and we work with that material to cut it and bend it and weld it and make parts for their products. Our process is to really work with customers, and the customers could be two guys in their garage making the next ingenious product, all the way up to the large companies in America. We're a national company, so we work within the borders of the United States. We typically look at their ideas. Could be a hand scratch on the back of an envelope, all the way up to perfectly engineered drawings. Our customers want good information. They want some help sometimes in developing their products. We study the requirements. We give the information to our engineers. They're working with 3D modeling software, and we'll actually develop the model. And then their job is to really understand what the customer wants and needs are and convert it to something our shop can produce.
Venture Industrial Products is a job shop, and they are finely tuned to make anywhere from 1 to thousands of parts depending on the process and the part. They're nice because if we want to do a small run for prototype to validate the idea, to modify it and see if it's going to work and what we want it to do. And it also is the look of the final product and what it will look like, and we do go to production. With the technology they have here, they're going to use that same technology to make the parts for the first medium quantity run.
Travis at Make48 brought us a prototype to make, and the product is made out of 119 cold rolled steel.
So for this hook design, we've decided to use cold rolled steel. It is a relatively inexpensive material, and it's easy to form and easy to work with, and everybody's familiar with how to use it and work with it. And it's also strong enough to hold the weight that's going to be applied to this hook.
And we're going to go through a design process with them and use our 3D modeling package and create work orders to outline the production process. The production process consists of laser cutting, some deburring work on the product to make sure it's good, smooth corners, and then a bending process. We're going to use press brakes, Amada press brakes, to bend it. They're 143-ton machines and necessary to make precision bends. Make48's product could be made a variety of ways. The great thing about a job shop is there's a variety of ways to produce a product. This particular product could be punched, it could be laser cut, it could be stamped, it could be forged, it could be cast. In our particular business, we're going to use a laser cutter. We're going to start with a sheet of material and use a fiber optic laser that cuts very accurately, plus or minus 4 thousandths, and it's a great technique to make a prototype part. The prototype part can go into production from there. We can ramp up and make field testing quantities of 1 to 100, several hundred, several thousand, all the way up to many thousands, 50,000, 100,000. That process still holds. By the time you get to the 100,000 to a million volume, you're probably going to choose a different technique, maybe a stamping process to make a hard tool, very similar to General Motors car fender being stamped out. One hit, one car fender. In this particular case, we're making small quantities. The laser cutter is a very flexible tool. We can, whatever you draw, you can cut with the laser.
Once I got the formed up part from Venture Industrial Products, I was very excited to come home and try it out. So I took the part and got a cam out of one of the existing buckles that I had. Put it in there and assembled it with the pins that I purchased, and got it all cinched together and put it on a piece of strapping, and lo and behold, it worked great.
We want to bring the product back to Warren to review. He's got a massive experience in the storage industry. Good morning, Warren Tuttle. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Tom. Thank you.
Hey, Warren, I want to, as you're a mentor for the teams, I wanted to give you a bit of an update on the winning product, the Strap and Store. We've had a team of tool technicians help rebuild phase 2 and phase 3 that what we think could be the final prototype. So I think we bring Warren in now and get his feedback. He knows the inside knowledge of a big company and what they're going to think. Where would you see this product with your expertise in marketing?
I could visualize this product, on the shelf at hardware stores. It's a storage solution, but I do think there is an opportunity on DRTV.
Warren has a really good background with DRTV, direct response television. That could be a really good way for this product to go. It's going to meet the price points. What is DRTV, direct response television? What does that even mean? What does that stand for?
Well, it's a good question. So obviously the television part's easy to understand. It's things that are advertised on television. Now there's a couple of different ways to advertise products on television. One, people, know the traditional retailers online like QVC or Home Shopping Network, and that is one form of television, retailing and advertising. What makes direct response or DR unique is that it is the ability for these ads to run on TV, not through an established retailer, but just with these DRTV, direct response television companies, and sell directly to consumers, where they call in or get online and order directly, and then they skip the store entirely, and the goods are shipped directly, not even through Amazon, not even through, Walmart, but directly to the consumer. Now, not all products are DRTV, direct response television oriented, but I think in this case it's very demonstrable. The product solves a problem.
Doesn't the TV industry have to make sure that you can almost cover every home in America? You can't be a niche product, correct?
Yeah, you don't want to be a niche product or a niche category for sure. The way to really make money on all fronts for the companies themselves and for the inventors, who are signing a licensing agreement or whatever, would be to do a lot of volume.
The money made from a product like this through TV, is it actually made in the sales when people ring and call in, or is the manufacturer trying to then supply retail at the same time, and it's sort of a two-pronged attack? Is that how it works?
Yeah, very much so. The original, TV advertising and the offer that brings in direct sales, which is outside typical retail channels, people that call in and the order is shipped right out to their house. Usually the goal there is to sell enough product to pay for the television advertising. And for many years, they tried to at least break even, make a little money. Today, they're even willing to maybe even lose a little money as long as it offsets a lot of the expense of the television advertising, which can be quite expensive, especially in a big rollout. The real money, the real profit is made when you roll that product out to retail. The idea is that when customers see the product on TV 5, 7, 9, 10 times, that suddenly it creates a brand almost overnight. So then when they walk into, Costco or Walmart or Target or any of the stores or any of the stores, then and they see it, they can already identify with it.
And what sort of cost do you think for an everyday person trying to break into this market? Obviously, it'd be pretty tough to begin, because the outlay of capital needed, even on a $20 item, it's well north of $1 million to do it successfully, to give it a really good test.
Look, it gets back to the product and the price points and so forth. But if you're going to go on direct response television and test it at a mass level, you're talking about millions of dollars are necessary to pay for all the TV spots, for all the fulfillment, all the manufacturing, gearing up all the resources. Because at the end of the day, they don't want to just sell 10,000 units and call it a day. They want to sell, in the hundreds of thousands or even in the millions of units.
Warren, you're a wealth of knowledge, and thank you so much for all the feedback. You've got a lot for us to think about, and appreciate your advice, and I know the teams do as well. We'll see you next time, buddy.
Cheers.
Bye. For where the prototype is at right now, there's not many more changes to be made, in my opinion, before it's ready to go out to the test for the world.
The nice thing about our Make48 team is we have a very diverse group of people that are experienced in a lot of different areas. I'm a mechanical engineer, Stan is an industrial designer, Whitney is into textiles. And anytime we have an idea, we can also hand this off to those people in their specialty, and they can develop these products and help us get a final product.
It was pretty cool. Of course, as right now, we kind of communicated via email just of what was going on, and everybody was able to bounce off ideas, which was nice. And once I was able to see everything in person, Travis was really great about explaining it to me, because I was like, it's gonna do what and how? But it made sense. By the time we got done, it was oh, okay, this all makes sense. And we all really put in some good thoughts to it.
Whitney was able to take the textile knowledge that she has and come up with the strapping material that we needed to use that was nice and thick. And she was also able to sew it in our final prototype to give us a nice final polished look. Stan was able to take his experience in welding and machining and come up with that initial prototype that we developed. Then I used my skills as a mechanical engineer to take that idea and make it manufacturable and come up with a true final manufactured prototype.
Yeah, this is definitely a product that I could make good use of, definitely want. And my wife liked it too, and she has all kinds of craft things she wants to hang on the wall, so it's a great product to come out of Make48.
I think the product Strap and Store is at a really good final point right now. It's not quite ready for the end consumer. It's definitely ready to show to a buyer to get their opinion and to take it to the people that make those decisions. There's still going to be some refinements, but I think it's come a long way in a short amount of time. Hey everybody, welcome. Good to see you, Alan and Ian. Welcome back. It's been a long time since we'd seen you, and a lot has changed in the world, but sorry we couldn't be in Colorado to share this with you, but the next best thing is a chat with all the talented people that have helped make the prototypes and take them to that next stage. So what's been happening in Colorado, guys?
Well, we've been working a little bit on the prototype here as well, growing the idea and just improving on the refinements of it. The phase 2 I put together here, I went from a single hook to a double hook. Had the ability to just store and hang more things on it. So it really made it more substantial and tested it in the garage and made it work.
I've been doing some of the refined sales sheet stuff, and we're gonna do a new video for it, and just kind of those promotional materials, so yeah.
Well, that's good, guys. I'd like to also welcome to the group Stan, Whitney, and Travis.
Hey, y'all.
You obviously worked with them closely during the event on parts of your invention, but they've been the masterminds behind creating phase 2 and phase 3 of the prototype. There was a couple of things we noticed. Obviously, you guys did a great job in that 48 hours. There's no doubt. You won the competition. You had a very simple product, and simple often wins. We did have some things that we wanted to show you and improvements we wanted to talk about.
No product has ever been the same from start to finish. People who get stubborn with their idea usually perish. They refuse to change, or they're not open to new ideas.
I'd love to bring into the conversation Travis and Stan. Maybe Stan first.
Well, when we first started this, Travis came over to my shop and we just started, troubleshooting different ways, and we kind of grabbed whatever materials that were around us. Kind of had this idea that this thing needs to move up and down the strap. It took us going through that first run of figuring out the cam, figuring out the lengths and the distance of the hooks, and this welding and stuff like that, which led us to where Travis took it on and really shined with it.
So Stan and I teamed up, and we've hammered and beat on the thing, and we've come up with a nice iteration on the design. And in the middle of doing the prototype, had a light bulb idea. Hey, if we integrate this into one part, we could make it a lot more simple and a lot easier to manufacture at the end.
Because we wanted to replicate the normal like cam strap you would see in a normal strap, cargo strap. So I was thinking, but looking at those, they were all going the wrong direction. The cam was in the wrong orientation. While we're in the middle of modifying the angle iron to get the right shape that we wanted and weld it together, I was looking at the original cam buckle system, and they were just a piece of sheet metal. And looking at that sheet metal bracket that's part of the buckle going, I could just add the hook to the sheet metal and do it that way.
Yeah, I'm glad you all know what is easy and inexpensive to produce, because that's kind of where my knowledge ends. You just don't know what it costs out there in order for us to make our price points.
A typical rule of thumb is like whenever you add a spot where you must weld in manufacturing, the cost goes way up. So the fact that this can be stamped out of a single piece of metal is just really drops that price.
Alan, I know that you had a good point in relation to the vertical, hanging the hook system with weight. Obviously, the products tend to lean forward. And I know that when we were talking to you about making the second and third phase prototype, you had a really good point on the degree. What was your advice there?
Well, here in Colorado, a lot of people change over their tires. A tire is, 20 pounds. So even though these hooks are rated at 30 or 40 pounds plus, a right angle hook will tilt forward under load. So with that upward angle, that 60-degree upward angle, everything slides to the wall and it all stays flat.
Looking at the design, I figured out that about a 10-degree angle looked about right. Without some more testing, we'll have to figure out what that final degree is. But I did 10 degrees and put a nice little hook on the end of it, so if something did have to slide, it wouldn't completely come off. But I think as it gets pressured against the wall, the hooks are splayed out a little bit, so they're going to kind of rest against the wall. So I don't think we need as big an angle as 60 degrees maybe, but somewhere between 10 and 20 degrees is probably going to be the optimal angle for that.
And Whitney, obviously this product had nylon and nylon strapping. This stuff's pretty readily available, correct?
It is. It's a great idea to just kind of go with nylon strapping because you can pretty much get it anywhere, and the cost of it is really effective when you're looking at large-scale production.
God, I'm getting excited. Let's do it.
Well, without further ado, why don't you guys open up the package?
All right, the big moment, the unveiling. Let's see what you guys came up with. All right, nice. Very compact here. Now I understand what you mean by stamped out versus welded. When I first saw the new prototype, I thought great because I don't know what things cost to manufacture all that much. So I really tried to keep manufacturing costs to an absolute minimum. So I was delighted to see that they came up with a solution, a hook that can be cheaply manufactured out of stamped steel.
It looks, I don't want to use the word sick. It looks sick. I haven't really totally looked at it in person since we designed it in the competition. So it just looked like it was really refined and looked great.
Just with a push button, we can adjust these things up and down so easily.
Even though it's got two hooks, the way they're bent out at an angle, you can stack them. So the store part of this makes it a lot easier because you can just nest them on top of each other, and they take up very little space when they're not in use.
Yeah, I think making the hooks nest, like you did, Travis, that's a huge factor when it comes to shipping a product, because if a product gets too large, then the shipping does go up dramatically pretty quick. And I know a big improvement, Whitney, when you created the new system like that, is that there's a lot less sewing to do. I know that the prototype during the competition had a lot of sewing because the hooks were locked into place. With the cam lock system now and the hooks, there's no need to be sewing anything around the hooks themselves, just at both ends, correct?
Right, yeah. During the initial prototype, during the competition, it was a lot of shorter pieces to kind of get all of those metal parts hooked together. So this time it was literally just cutting one 10-foot long piece and making the adjustments where needed. So I only really had to sew at about 3 or 4 significant spots.
Right, and the big change here is you've got it down to just one strap. I had a strap loop which allowed us to actually lower stuff down to access an upper hook. But you really couldn't raise everything back up because of the weight.
The other thing for consumer ease is going to be obviously selling this with all the accessories needed. I know that Travis sourced a mountain climbing hook system, anchor system. Ultimately, you want to supply everything from the fasteners as well, because you don't want a consumer putting this product up in the garage using the wrong size bolts, nuts, whatever it may be, and having the weight make it collapse. So liability is always a thing you got to look for in products.
Now, I did use on my second prototype a safety S-hook. So once you clip it on, it's on, and it won't come off accidentally, just in case something is jumping around.
As always, liability and young ones and that coming down could be the only issue I would see.
Yeah, liability. So it's so simple. You clip in the top, you clip in the bottom, and you cinch it up with this cinch right here to draw it tight against the wall, and it's installed.
Travis, tell me more about the anchor system that you sourced. How did you find such a thing? Obviously you found it online, and these things they're available all over the place, but why did you go with that design you chose?
Well, the original thought was maybe using some sort of lag or some sort of eye bolt to hang it from the wall. Doing a little more research on that, those eye bolts are not really rated for side loading. They're made to be screwed up into a joist in the ceiling and hung axially along the threads. If you start trying to side load them, their rating goes down by dramatically, like down to around 15% of their total load if they were turned the other way. So I started looking for off-the-shelf solutions that you could actually side load and put hang loads on them. Looked at different picture hanging and different wall anchoring systems, but I ended up in a rock climbing type scenario, looking at what's available for the rock climbing world. And they make these relatively inexpensive sheet metal brackets that you bolt them to a rock and they stay there permanently. And they can hold up to 5,000 pounds. So just from a safety aspect, you tend to want to over design if you can and make things extremely safe and make sure they're not going to fail in the field and injure somebody. So these are rated for shock loading and side loading, hanging it from that direction.
Hey Stan, what would be the next phase of a product like this? I know you've got a lot of experience. Before you go into mass production of any product, you obviously want to do a small run. I like to call it small run manufacturing. In Kansas City, where we're based, I know that Travis found a great company to do it with us, but these services are pretty readily available around the country. If you want to make 100 units or maybe 500 units, that would be the next move to do, correct?
I think the next logical phase is like we do like a run of 10 production prototypes or something like that, to where we iron out any kinks in like the production aspect of it. The safety hook that he recommended, to incorporate that. We incorporate all these new ideas to further it along. And also it'd be a good idea for you guys to test what you have now, put it in your garage, hang stuff on it. We want to know where it needs improvement, because you have the vision in your head about where it's going and things like that. So you're best suited for that. We've taken it with our own ideas as far as we could. Now it's up to you to find out where the flaws are, and then we can make corrections for those and then do a series of prototypes that would be more like production related.
Yeah, well, my garage is definitely a qualified testing ground. Let me tell you something, no stone will be left unturned.
Good, because there's always something that somebody misses, and this is the time to flesh it out.
Okay guys, well, I appreciate everyone's time on this prototype. You've all done an outstanding job. Thank you to Stan, to Whitney, and to Travis.
My pleasure.
Yes. Thank you for letting me help.
Alan and Ian, thank you so much. I know you guys have put a lot of input into this.
Well, this has been really exciting. It was exciting before we got to Make48. It was bloody exciting when we were there, and it's still exciting. This continues to evolve.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you guys so much for the hard work.
Well, like any invention, they're always a work in progress. This product itself might go through 2 or 3 more variations to get right. A big congratulations, and we look forward to seeing the next phase. Okay, thanks guys.
All right, thanks. Have a good day.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Working together is always a blast. No matter what, I'm always learning a bunch of stuff from him.
I'm really creative, but he's really smart, and that's why I wanted him on the team so much. You know, I gotta say, kind of schmoozy here, but as a father, we mountain bike together, we raft together, we ski together, and now we had a chance to really be challenged working together and thinking together, and I think we did it, right?
With the Strap and Store prototype in good shape, will the product be a success? Only time will tell. Make48 is funded by
Stanley Black & Decker provides tools and services around the globe to help turn great ideas into reality and to help us shape the world we live in. We proudly support programming that inspires invention, innovation, and hard work. Together with Make48, we're providing men and women the tools and resources to build a better world. Stanley Black & Decker, for those who make the world.
To learn more about the invention process and to see bonus content, visit Make48.com.